Hi, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Your old pal Richard Straight here, along with my buddy Bob Gibson. Happy you joined us today. Man, week 9 is now over and done with. Actually, it was like week 10, Bob, because we had some open.
I know. We've been through this.
It's like week 20, really, the way they started.
Before
they started this like in July. Next year, it's going to start right after graduation. They're going to start playing football, right?
I'm going to start a what do you call one of those things where you sign off and you don't want to.
Yeah.
No more week 0. We're
no
getting rid of week 0 next.
Anyways,
next year.
it's some kind of week. All I know is there's 1 week left in the regular season,
That's it.
and that's all everybody cares about. This week we're going to start off looking at the No Love Club, Bob, because the No Love Club is unsettled. We already know that the top 10 settled. It's been settled for months since last year.
We don't really care about the top 10 at this point.
Not anymore. It doesn't
we like
matter.
the No Club because there's more suspense.
Absolutely. We see
No
Corona
Love
Del
Club.
Mar still in the top spot. You know, they beat Newport Harbor, who was undefeated until last week. Of course, they're stablemates. Corona Del Mar really put the hurt on Newport Harbor, 56-17, Bob. Nasty game.
Well, Corona Del Mar, and I've told you this before, deserved to be in our top 10. Haven't been able to crack yet. Number 1 in the No Love. I think Corona Del Mar could compete in Division II this year. I think they could be part of that tournament.
They can't, Bob.
They will win the Division III
Nah, they
championship
won't.
this year.
Nah, they wouldn't.
They could compete in Division II, not in Division I. No, but nobody could compete in that
Anybody can compete in it, but will you win?
one. But Corona Del Mar's got more talent than almost anybody across the board. This is a team for the ages out in Newport Beach this season. Get out if you get a chance to see this Corona Del Mar team. That is a joy to behold.
All right, number 2 is Paramount from the San Gabriel Valley League. Paramount's played a pretty good schedule, Bob. I mean, they took Amont to an overtime. That's the only loss on their blemish on their record was Bishop Amont. It was a 29-28 game or something weird like that, or 28-27. Paramount doing very well in the San Gabriel Valley League. They crushed Dominguez. Remember Dominguez? CIF perennial champs?
Of course.
50-0 last week, Bob. 50.
Paramount, wasn't this a soccer-only school like, 10, 15 years ago, right? This was a
I don't remember.
This is a school that has kicked butt in soccer for years, and now football, man. They are a football school.
Well,
congratulations
they
to
went
Paramount,
to 3
man.
CIF finals in a row, Bob.
No.
They're no strangers to championships at Paramount
I'm saying
football.
now, right, recently now the football
All right.
program has really come into play, and now they show they're here for good. We see a program once in a while, for 1 year they get in there. Paramount's showing you that they're good for the long haul here.
They got it going on. Okay, in the third position, Cypress over Tustin 32-15. Culver City defeated Hawthorne 55-8. They're number 4. Western defeated Laguna Beach 56-49 in overtime. That's a lot of points, even for overtime, Bob. 56-49, man. What's up with Davidson? He's just lining them up, baby.
Hey, he's got it going.
Catella defeated Anaheim 41-7. We'll talk about them a little bit. Foothill over Esperanza 42-13.
Playing defense.
Glendora defeated Alta Loma. Look at this score, Bob. 63-14. Glendora trying to stay in the No Love Club, trying to stay relevant.
They're there.
And they are. Sunny Hills, their only blemish was last week against La Habra. They are 8-1. They defeated Fullerton 56-21. Sunny Hills, man, they got the basketball team out there because they're putting points up, and that's the only way you can do it, hitting threes.
Hammer can't move up. Come on, man.
Hammer can't move up because, to be honest with you, if they would lose to anybody on that schedule.
You think so?
I believe so. Randy was saying that they couldn't win any. Then Larry was telling me. Everybody was telling me so.
I don't know. The Moors look good this year.
Matter of fact, they tried to move Alhambra out this week, but I put my foot down and said, nah, you can't do that. Not yet.
Good enough.
Not yet. All right, let's continue on. Let's have a look now. Of course, the big game this last weekend was number 1 versus number 2, Mater Dei versus Bosco. Seen this again. Deja vu. There you see the final. Mater Dei defeated St. John Bosco 38-24 on St. John Bosco's home field, Bob. I'll tell you what, this game was nowhere near as close as the score would indicate.
No.
And here's our vantage point. Gio out there getting some highlights for us. Let's put it this way. Mater Dei was up 21-3 at one point, Bob, and they were ready to stop Bosco again, which would have been devastating. And then 4 consecutive flags come out, move Bosco down to the 1-yard line, 1st and goal, and they finally punch it in, keeping this game close up until that point.
I tell you, I mean, we're seeing the highlights here. Cody Epps, man, this guy, the connection he has with Bryce Young is really something else. And this offense, as much as we can talk about the Mater Dei offense, it was the Mater Dei defense on this night. And you know, they showed a few little chinks in the armor, I think, in that second half. Not so worried about it. I think the Bosco offense woke up a little bit in the second half, but basically the game was decided well before halftime. And Mater Dei really showed you just how much better they are than everybody else. And we talked about it. The only team that could compete with Mater Dei was going to be St. John Bosco. Guess what? St. John Bosco showed they really can't compete with Mater Dei either. Nobody can beat the Monarchs this year. Nobody.
Last year, St. John Bosco won the regular season contest. Remember, that game was scheduled for a Friday night, but the lightning storm rolled in from Louisiana and
the lightning struck
couldn't play.
Today.
The wind blew, you know it flew, and there was lightning right there. So the game was canceled. They played it on a Saturday. I don't know how the game would have meted out had they played it on a Friday as scheduled, but it doesn't matter. Mater Dei got him in the finals where it counted the most. I don't see that kind of game this time, but Mater Dei was just too dominant.
Right. I mean, I think people are starting to say, well, maybe Bosco can pull a Mater Dei from a year ago and turn the tables in the final. I don't see it. Nothing in that game showed me that Bosco has what it takes to get past Mater Dei, to make up that margin like that. As you mentioned, the final score, it wasn't. I don't think it was as close as the game out there. 38-24. The game was well out of reach. I mean, I don't know what else to say anymore. Mater Dei is just head and shoulders above everybody else in the entire nation.
They made Bosco look average.
They did. In a way, they really did, because we know how good Bosco is. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. He's going to Clemson. They've got skill players all over, but Mater Dei matched them player for player and showed they're that much better than
Bruce
St. John
Rollinson's
Bosco.
been around a long time, a lot longer than the guy that's at Bosco. So he's been around a long time. He's putting in almost 40 years now, and he was winning championships when he was a player there. And so I think he's learned a little bit more.
Well, and it's a real difference, and Rollinson will always tell you that Eric Johnson, the defensive coordinator, Dave Money, the offensive coordinator, who they've both been there 100 years with Rollo. Money the entire time. Johnson almost the entire time. He took off a couple of years to be the head coach at Fountain Valley back in the 80s. But that group together, I'll tell you, man, they are rolling right now. And with the talent they have and the knowledge they have, forget about it. This is out of reach this year.
It's kind of sad because we've already, we can all see it. We can all see it as a media. We're going to sit here and lie to you. Nobody has a chance.
It's a CIF championship. It's another state champ because De La Salle certainly can't compete.
Yep. Another national championship. There's nobody in their way. IMG lost already, not that they count.
Everybody else is out.
Yeah. Bosco's beating St. Francis, who's number 3.
We're talking about the third straight national championship for the Monarchs.
Yeah. So it's done.
I don't know if that's even is there precedent for that? I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
We'll talk about that in another time. Right now, we got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's get now to the top 10. Take a quick look. Bosco Mater Dei, of course, they played this last weekend. They are 1-2. Not only in the CIF Southern Section, 1-2 in the state. They're 1-2 probably in the country still because they proved it. Following them, of course, we have Corona Centennial, Bob. They defeated King 42-0. Nothing surprising about that. Mission View over San Clemente 38-6. Fairly easy.
They got their revenge over San Clemente from a year ago.
Yes, they did. Servite defeated Rancho Santa Margarita 27-0, kind of expected. Narbonne over Carson 52-3. There's nothing. There's no mystery in the LA section right now.
There's nothing competitive right now.
There's no drama,
Look at
man.
this top
it's already
10.
figured out.
Until we get to the bottom here, we'll get to Grace Brethren in a second, but nothing else was really that competitive this week.
All right, J. Sarah over Olu 19-0. Notice how Servite and J. Sarah shut out their opponents, and those are the guys fighting for that spot. And Servite looks like they're going to get it. Bishop Amat over Notre Dame 35-21. Amat has solidified themselves as the Mission League champions with that victory. There's no way they can get that, at least a piece of that title wrestled from them. Norco over Roosevelt 56-7. Grace Brethren in a tough game with Sierra Canyon, 13-7 final. That game was in doubt until the final seconds, Bob. Grace Brethren almost had it. Didn't quite work out for them. They fall from 5 down to 10. And we'll see what happens this week. They have Camarillo this week. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Well, and I wonder if that Sierra Canyon win is going to push them up in the Division I bracket. And we certainly know Grace Brethren and Corona Del Mar on a crash course in D3 to play each other there, and that's going to be an epic game if that does happen. I think it will. But now you're talking about Sierra Canyon, that Division I, Division II bracket. If they get to D2, they've got a chance to run the table over there, perhaps. But if they get pushed up into D1, a big win over Grace Brethren like that, boy, it's a tough road for anybody in D1. Everybody in that D1, D2 bracket wants to go to D2. You may have a chance to win. In D1, you got no chance.
Privately, if I'm a coach, I do not want to play in Division 1.
No kidding.
I'm going to sandbag and get in Division 2. I got a chance to win a title there. Nobody has a chance in the open division. They just don't. It's over. It's already over, Bob.
Well, my question now is Jay Serra, because they're going to lose to Mater Dei more than likely this week. That's going to give them 3 losses in the league.
Bob?
Okay,
Ooh,
it's possible.
What if Serbite loses this week?
Can you imagine if Jay Serra upsets Mater Dei? Not going to happen. But does Jay Serra get knocked down to D2? Is there a chance Jay Serra could be that team that gets knocked down into Division 2 and Sierra Canyon jumps up? Because right now Sierra Canyon is 9th in the rankings. Jay Serra somehow 6th. I don't know if they're that.
Bob, it's a real possibility. It's a real possibility. They can get down. I mean, why would you have half the open bracket all Trinity League?
I think that would be fascinating if Jay
Maybe
Serra
it
got
should be
knocked out.
all Trinity League schools and throw in Mission Viejo in that mix and let them all play again.
I mean, the D2 bracket's already going to be crazy good. All the intrigue is going to be there.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you look at it, D1, there's no intrigue. Everybody's going to fall by the wayside there. It's Mater Dei Bosco again. But that D2 bracket's going to be a lot of fun. Who ends up there, I think, is still up for debate at this point.
Man, why is everybody freaking out about Corona Centennial? Did you hear what Rollinson was saying this week about Corona Centennial? And I'm sure Bosco guy feels the same way. Feels the same way. Like, you don't want to see those guys again. They're a lot better now. They're tough. They're crazy. Anything can happen with that offense they have.
Week 1, Centennial was not even in the game with Mater Dei week 1.
Yeah, they weren't ready. They were
not
terrible.
even in
terrible
the
first
game
game
for
to
5
have
seconds
against a
in
national
that
champion.
game.
Yeah.
Completely overmatched.
Yep.
I don't know how much better they'd have to be able to compete with Mater Dei.
But it's good, Bob.
Heck of a lot better than they were
Psychologically,
week 1.
they got Mater Dei now. If they meet him, they're gonna kill him.
Well, it's Matt Logan, right? So you never put anything past a Matt Logan team. But I don't see it there this year.
It's doubtful they'll win by a lot.
Right?
It's doubtful they'll probably win that
game.
game.
It's doubtful they'll still finish as the third best team in D1. That's just the way it is right now.
They're just too good. All right, let's go down and take a look at the high desert action with Carlos Peña. See what's been happening up there.
Hi guys, thanks for that lovely introduction. Folks, welcome to SoCal Prep Report. I'm Carlos Peña, and tonight Oak Hill's taking on undefeated Serrano. Let's go check out the action.
Tonight was a long-awaited match between undefeated Serrano and mighty Oak Hills. With only the Bulldogs standing in their way, the Diamondbacks wasted no time with this kickoff run back by number 2, Joey Arguello. Bulldogs' Noah Lopez made the shoestring tackle 1 yard out. Serrano made quick work of the opportunity as quarterback Parker Chaffee snuck it in for the score. 7-0 Serrano 55 seconds into the game. Oak Hills had their chance, 4 and out with this punt, and once again Serrano's special teams came through with this run back by Nathan Sandoval to the 24-yard line. The Diamondbacks called on Wakil Sullivan to get them within inches of the goal line. Serrano went right back to Wakil Sullivan, who finished the job. After a late Serrano pick 6, the Diamondbacks led 21-0 at the half. Moving on to the fourth quarter, and Serrano's Wakil Sullivan adds another touchdown with this run into the end zone. 28-0. With 8 minutes to go, the Bulldogs finally snuck one in. Bulldogs' Prince Thomas makes it 28-7. Serrano will go on to win 31-7, improving their record to 9-0 and sealing their bid as High Desert King. Moving on to the Golden League, and Court Hills falls to Highland 50-0. Palmdale 63 over Lancaster, Antelope Valley over Knight, and Little Rock over Eastside. Next up, the Desert Sky League. The Saints dominated highly regarded Granite Hills 47-8. And Barstow 44 over Victor Valley 20. Up next, the Big Mojave River. Apple Valley over Hesperia 42-0, and Burroughs buries Sultana. Next week, we finally have the battle for 395 as Silverado looks to repeat and keep all rights to Highway 395. Despite Silverado's record, this game has nothing to do with the win-loss columns and everything to do with bragging rights. The Hawks need to be ready for a fight once again, as Adelanto is considered one of top 25 schools in Southern California, dubbed most dangerous schools to pull off an upset in 2019 playoffs. This will no doubt be the best finish to our 2019 season. And finally, our High Desert top 5. Serrano's swarming defense keeps them up top, followed by Palmdale, Apple Valley, the underdogs of the desert, Adelanto, and Highland. Folks, that's all from the High Desert. See you next time. Back to you in the studio.
Hey, thanks a lot, Carlos, man. He just gave us some more fodder for the week,
I know,
Bob.
right? It's always good stuff.
That was great. All right, real quick, let's take a look at the matchups. We're going to see that little era has a big game this week. They're taking on Santiago. Bob, this is a big game simply because Santiago's on top right now. If Loera beats them, then Loera, Rancho Alamitos, and Santiago will all have a win over each other, so you really can't pick one. It's going to be a coin flip.
Right.
So imagine if you're Santiago, you're 4-0 in league right now, you're running the table, and you're going to have to coin flip. You might wind up as a third-place seed in your league, man.
I love the fact that they've all beaten each other,
Yeah.
right? Everybody's beat. That's what you love about it, right? You just
Yep.
love that everybody's beating up on everybody else.
Yep.
And you come down to the last week and you still don't know. It's still, you may have to have an 8-way coin flip to get this thing figured out.
All right, let's continue on. Take a look at the next game. It's Grace Brethren. Another big game for them this week. If you didn't get enough of Sierra Canyon, you're going to love this one. It's Camarillo this week. Camarillo 9-0 on the season, obviously undefeated in league. Grace Brethren 8-1 on the season, obviously undefeated in league. Playing in the last game of the season for all the marbles. Camarillo is a lot like Corona Del Mar and Ventura, where they just dominate, Bob.
Well, where does Grace Brethren go from here? I mean, after that tough loss, right? First loss on the season.
They go here to Camarillo.
I know, but what I'm telling you is,
First road to redemption, Bob.
Did they pack it in a little bit?
No.
Are they a little bit rocked?
Heck
Are they a
no.
little bit shell-shocked after
No.
that? Or do they say, hey, you know what? Now we're going to turn it on. We're going to show Camarillo their first loss of the
Bob,
season.
Grace Brethren's only loss in the last few years has been to
I
Sierra
know that.
Canyon.
I understand that.
So
which
it's
is what
no
I'm
shock
saying.
that they lost again. I
When
don't know, there's something in the dude's head about this.
When a group hasn't lost in a long time like that, sometimes you can get a little bit rocked from that first loss. So
right.
interesting to see how they come out of it.
All right, Bob. Let's continue on and take a look at a couple more games. We see Excelsior, Bob. We're not talking about Excelsior High in Norwalk that closed like 20 years ago where they
that's
filmed
right.
Grease. We're talking about Excelsior is playing, and they're in Victorville, by the way. They're playing Big Bear. Excelsior 0-2, 1-7 overall. Played Big Bear. Why are they on the? Why even
Right?
on this thing
Why
at
are we
1-7?
talking about
Why are
this
we
game?
talking about it? We're talking about it because this is a big game for Big Bear. That's why they got big in their name, Bob. They got to play Excelsior. If Big Bear somehow loses this game, guess what? The whole league, there'll be not one team with a winning record. 4-6 will be the best record in that league, 40% winning percentage, and they will represent as the top team in that league.
What does that say about
that's
the
Cross
league?
Valley. It's the Cross Valley League. It says it's cold up there. It's Big Bear, man. They're playing this game. By the way, if you're interested in going to that game, it's at Big Bear Middle School. How about that, Bob?
I'm going to put that on my calendar.
You make sure
Randy's
you get
already,
this
Randy
game.
will meet us up there.
In the last game we're looking at this week is Chaminade at Sarah. Chaminade 2-2 in league. Sarah 1-3. Big game because if Chaminade wins this game, they are coming from like they weren't even an afterthought this year
Right.
because they started so slow. But if they beat Sarah this week, they will clinch the second place in the mission, Bob.
And if
it's
Sarah-
a big deal. It's a huge deal.
If Sarah was to lose this game and finish 5-5, I have no idea how Sarah could finish the season 5-5. They have at times looked like one of the best teams in Southern California
At
this
times.
year.
That's at times,
I
Bob.
know at times, and at times maybe they haven't played so well, but I still like Sarah in this matchup.
I'm glad you do. Somebody does. All right, continuing on, we see Mater Dei Bosco 1-2, and you know what? Just about every poll kept Bosco in the 2 or 3 position. I don't know how you put them in 3, but they're in 3.
One of them did. I saw one of them online. One of your
But
buddies.
it's a
over
rag.
there.
But it's a rag, dude.
One of your buddies
but
put
the
him down at
rag,
third.
you have to get the aggregate to get it right. St. Louis from Hawaii still on a bye week. They'll play for the Island Championships next week at Aloha Stadium, Bob. St. Francis Academy of Maryland 8-1 won. St. Thomas Aquinas won also. Duncanville, who plays nobody out of the state of Texas, Bob, they're still alive in there.
Speaking of that poll, I was just talking about the had Bosco third. They had Duncanville second.
Yeah, who cares? Duncanville they couldn't beat either one of these teams. I don't
No,
even know why they're even
not
in
even
the,
close.
in the thing, but it's an aggregate here. Lakeland, Florida in the 7th position, followed by De La Salle. Concord, California, 8-1. Lowndes of Georgia, 9-0. Bob making up. And, of course, Bishop Gorman, who plays a national schedule.
Yes, they do.
A national schedule every year, but the posters hate these dudes because it's in Vegas. And what happens in Vegas is supposed to stay in Vegas, Bob.
Don't forget Servite played Gorman this year.
Yeah, they did. And you know what? Gorman killed him.
They did.
They
No,
killed
it was true.
It was a muggy, man. Epic proportions, man. But anyways, that's your national picture. California still involved. All right, now we're going to go to the LA City section. Got a lot of big games. We purposely left the Garfield Roosevelt, the East LA Classic, off the board so we can have Randy in on discussion. Randy, what's going on this
It's
week?
Classic Week. I love
Classic,
it.
homie.
It is Classic Week, but before I get to the Classic, heavy heart for Scott McLean, head coach at Belmont, had the big rivalry game this week with Contreras. They ended up losing the game 21-20, two-point conversion failed. But he coached the game 1 week after his daughter Isabel passed away from cerebral palsy. So came there, heavy heart, Eric Padilla did a good job, playing in the football game. Eric Carrillo, the coach of Contreras, and the head coach McLean are very close friends. It was a class show, not a lot of penalties, well-played game, and a 21-20 victory. And they played the game in honor of Isabel. And it was a great moment, I think, for the city because they did it with class. With that being said, and our heart goes out to Scott McLean, and we wish him well and his family well.
Way to slow the show down, Randy. You couldn't save that to the end.
Well, it was such a great tribute to her. I thought I had to lead with it.
Understood, Randy. Understood. All right, let's go.
Let's go to the top 10. Narbonne, you mentioned they did a number on Carson. San Fernando, nobody's in their way. By the way, these top 8 are going to be the 8 teams in the Open Division.
What did I tell you about San Fernando? They've solidified themselves as the number 2 here.
Yeah, but I don't know that they'll be the number 2 seed, but they'll be close. The computer does some crazy things. Garfield's, we're going to talk about them in a moment. They obviously have the East LA Classic, and they're running right through the Eastern League. San Pedro wins big again. They hammered Gardena. And Richie Sanchez had a pick 6. You're saying, well, what's the big deal? A lot of teams get pick 6s. Right. That was the 6th pick 6 of the year for San Pedro. They had 4 against Taft in one game earlier this year. Palisades continues to play great football defensively. I got them at the number 5 this week. They shut out University. Banning was idle. They're 5-4 after their big win against Carson the week before. Crenshaw's really doing some great things right now. 51-0 over Dorsey. Birmingham to 4-4, and I think they got a lot of talent. Reseda might be the top team in D1. They're the team that's going to be left out. I put Venice in over Eagle Rock.
Back in the top 10.
I put them back in because they had a great win, 44-40 over Westchester. I just love the way the offense is playing right now for Venice. They won't get into the Open unless some crazy things happen, but they're a definite threat when they go into the D1 tournament.
Look at the huge disparity in those records in that top 10, Randy.
Well, there is a disparity.
What disappeared? What happened to it?
Well,
Anyways,
there's a disparity in the talent, too. Because
man, I'll tell you.
Narbonne is far and away the best team in the LA City section. They're going for their 6th consecutive city title, we think.
Well, what's going on with that, Randy? Just real quick, what's the latest?
We're still waiting. We've been in a wait and see over an ineligible player from last year, but that does not impact this year. But the LAUSD was still checking out the program to see if there are any other wrongdoing, so we just don't know.
I don't think it's coming down.
If it doesn't come down,
I don't think it's happening.
Saturday morning is the seeding meeting. If it doesn't come down before the seedings, they're in the tournament.
Man, the NCAA, boy, you commit a crime, they find out 10 years later, and it's one of the partisans in the NCAA, you go on probation.
I just wonder
Reggie
what
Bush.
else could possibly be out there for them to be still investigating at this point.
They've been investigating for a long time. I just know that Vicky Lagos in the LA City section office has been waiting for information from the LAUSD, and she's just sitting there waiting. And if it doesn't come down this week, it's not coming down.
All right.
We got some big games, right?
Let's talk about
Garfield, Roosevelt. It has not been close in recent years. Garfield's won the last 9 in a row. You can see the records are both 7-2. Garfield's won 6 games in a row. Roosevelt's won 5 consecutive contests. So they're both 5-0 in the Eastern League. It's for the Eastern League Championship.
I love it.
It's for a very high seed for Garfield in the Open. A win here for Roosevelt would get them a very high seed in D1. It's an interesting game. The computer says 35-14 Garfield. I agree with the computer.
Throw the computer out the window, man.
I think Garfield's going to win it easily.
This is East LA versus Boyle Heights, man. This is the rivalry. This is the biggest rivalry in the nation. The computer.
Kiss it, Bob. Who's dying? Go ahead.
The computer is out. It's kicked out by me.
Who you picking?
Gone.
I think you're kicking the equipment
That's
away.
all right.
Whatever.
Listen,
it's all out.
Pick your team.
If any computer who says it's going to be
Who's going
that
down?
big, I'm not picking anybody.
I think they cover. I think they win by more than 21
I think
points.
it comes down to the last possession.
In the interest of fairness to this game, which has been played for 1,000 years here in East Los Angeles, I told Bob, do not pick a winner of this game.
I never do.
With conviction. Because, Bob could say, yeah, I'm going to pick the Rams or whatever next week. Unless he really means it, it ain't going to work. So I'm glad you constrained yourself. You held back, Bob.
I can't do it.
I give you credit.
This is the biggest
Randy,
rivalry
he can't influence this game the way he influences all these other games.
Well, I'm just telling him, and he's a really nice guy. Roosevelt's gotten better. They've been improved the last couple of years, but Garfield's too strong. Bautista's an outstanding quarterback. Garcia, the running back, is sensational. 45-14, something like that.
That's the bulletin board material, Roosevelt.
Ten in a
right
row.
there. That's the
Wow.
bulletin board material. Take that,
Bulletin board
Roosevelt.
material.
45-14,
10 in a row.
baby.
It'll be 10 in a row. By the way, that's the longest winning streak for either side in the history of the East LA Classic.
The Rough Riders want to make Randy eat his words.
Well, I like to eat. I don't know about
Scary.
words, but I do
That's
like
pretty
to eat.
scary. That
Is there any other key games? Do you have
I
another
don't
key
know.
game?
Is that-
Oh, I had Lincoln and Franklin, which I think is a very good game. Lincoln is 8-1. Franklin is 7-2. Love Bobadilla, the quarterback at Franklin. I think they have too much firepower. I like the fact that Franklin's playing at home. Both these teams have lost to a good Eagle Rock squad. Franklin will outscore them and win the game.
All right. Is that it?
Let's see.
All right. 'Cause
I can go into some
Okay,
more games.
No, Bob's got our editorial. We got to get to it. Randy.
Another interesting game, though, is Granada Hills and Birmingham.
All right.
And Granada Hills has really surged late in the year. This will be for the West Valley League Championship. This is the only thing that could bother Birmingham. If Birmingham gets knocked off here, and I don't think they will, then that could really goof up the Open Division. So I think Birmingham will hold serve here and be a strong candidate in the Open Division, and Granada Hills will end up being the runner-up. But the Highlanders have really improved down the stretch.
All right. All right. So we went to Bosco, Mater Dei this week. Sent a camera crew out there just to get some highlights, bring it in here, bring it close up, right? I don't think Fox is going to let us show highlights of their game.
I don't know.
So Bob, they shut everybody out, huh? Just want to let you know, first of all, when you go to a CIF game and you're already approved as a press agent, you get a credential, just like this one right here. On the back of the credential, it says admit bearer. You know, admit bearer. We've already been vetted. They wouldn't let anybody in. Didn't have a Bosco ID.
Yeah. Somehow there was a supposed list that Bosco had of certain people who were able to get in or not able to get in. Don't know where the list came from.
So in the long run, this hurts you in the long run down the road. It just does. When you're going to decide who can come in and who can't come in as a press agent, that's not very good, Bob. I understand the word we got back from the Southern section and all that stuff, but
We did get an
the
email
Southern
back.
section should have emailed all the press agents and saying, look, this is a different game. We're not going to take it to a big venue like it deserved to be, like Cerritos College. We're going to keep it at Bosco. We're going to keep all the money at home. And by the way, you got to go ahead and reapply for your credential for the game. Because you got guys out here that got jobs, man, and they're trying to do their job, and then you stop them. And it just was a bad look at the game. It was just a bad look to be turned away if you're a press agent to one of those games when you have already been vetted.
Well, I'm sorry, it's a bad look for the Southern section altogether because you have the biggest game in the nation, number one.
And you
versus
shut
number
out
two in
your
the nation.
local press?
It is your game, and you're not letting local press people in to cover it.
Bad
Where's your
luck.
highlights on this show? You
Bad
shut
luck.
out our guy. You didn't let him in. That's a bad look for the Southern
What do you got,
section.
Randy?
I'm sorry,
I'm
no
just
matter what.
saying
it's a
they
bad
can all
look.
come to the city section games.
There you
all
go.
All the extra press
All welcome.
come to the LA City
that's it.
section games.
Maybe that's it.
Garfield,
Look,
Roosevelt,
nobody shuts you out in the
Birmingham,
city
Granada
section.
Hills. Everybody's
Yeah.
welcome at the city.
Listen, there was a lot of press that got let out, and these are people that cover the area here day in and day out. Just because you have a big game doesn't mean you don't let the local press in. Can you imagine back in the day if the Rams, the Lakers, said you can't fly on the company plane because we got agents from somewhere else coming in here? Get out of here.
Just it's
Bad look. Just a bad look.
very bad look. It needs to be cleaned up for the future.
Yep. Next time you got to send a memo out to all the media members, letting them know about the new protocol because we're not minders, and that's what you expected us to do. All right, that's it. On behalf of everybody here, that's Randy and Bob, I'm Richard Stray, saying so long from your friends here at the SoCal Prep Report. We'll see y'all next week.